Today's headlines.
The Bicameral Conference Committee has formally approved and signed a reconciled 6.790 trillion peso national budget for 2026.
Firecracker-related injuries have climbed to 112 ahead of New Year celebrations.
Shoppers flock to Divisoria and other holiday hotspots for New Year staples.
Manila's Finest continues to receive praise from moviegoers and critics after emerging as the most awarded film at the 2025 Metro Manila Film Festival.
First in the news, both the Senate and the House of Representatives have formally signed the 2026 budget report. The budget will be submitted for ratification on Monday, allowing a final review of its provisions before it is transmitted to Malacanang. The deliberations on the 2026 budget have been described as historic, as this marks the first time that the entire bicameral budget conference was live-streamed online. According to Senator Win Gatchalian, one of the major changes in the new budget is a detailed presentation of every project.
Imposible na magkaka-ghost project or substandard project kasi ngayon meron ng coordinates. Unlike in the past, walang coordinate sila. So, pwede siyang mahaba, pwede maiksi, pwedeng ghost.
Joining us now is ACT Teachers Party List Representative Antonio Tino. Good morning and welcome to the program. Thanks for joining us again, Kong. Kong, can you hear us okay? Oh, let's fix the signal muna, no? Because hindi tayo yata narinig ni Congressman, no? Last week ko pa nakakausap to si Congressman Tino and meron siya mga points kasi nga regarding this 2026 national budget. Of course, I think ang kanyang isa pang concern dito and others, no, would be the unprogrammed funds. So if ever today, ayan, let's check that again. Kong, can you hear us?
Yes.
Ayun. Alright, so Kong, ano ba? Ito ba talaga ay corruption-proof na budget for 2026? Do you believe that? Sa sinabi ni Chairman Representative Mika Swansing, this is people-centered budget. Napapangiti si Kong.
Corruption-proof. Well, do you believe that? So, of course not. There's no such thing. No. I highly doubt, obviously,
Why
that
do you
this
say
is a
so?
corruption-proof budget.
Let's break it down, Kong. Why do you think it's not a corruption-proof budget?
The corruption that has been exposed is a whole system, and the budget or the General Appropriations Act is only one important piece. But this is the appropriation. So the authorization starts here. But the corruption is actually realized in the execution of the budget.
Right.
Now, when it is spent. No, and this is where the rig biddings happen, and this is where the kickbacks are generated and eventually transferred to proponents. So, we have not seen a thorough clean up of, for example, the procurement system in the DPWH. Important players such as the former secretary, Manny Bonoan, they have not been, he's out of the country and he has not even been investigated, even though the corruption that we're talking about happened under his watch. No, so it would be premature to say that, wala. Everything is fixed now.
Right. What can you say about yung sinasabi po ng iba na we are simply going after personalities in this whole scheme of corruption, which can be replaced, but the system is still there, it's still friendly and enticing pa nga daw to people who want to engage in corruption. Is Congress now, or do you plan to take a look at some of the safeguards and measures that will hopefully make it as tighter, parang to dissuade those corrupt officials?
Well, that is very much true that the system remains intact. we heard from that clip you played earlier, meron na raw coordinate yung farm to market roads, so safeguard na raw yun against corruption. Well, merong coordinates ngayon yung mga flood control projects provided by DPWH. It turns out many of the coordinates are fake. Parang copy and paste. So unless there's a system that really verifies each and every one of these coordinates, then, and we're talking about thousands of projects here, like if you're just talking about farm to market roads.
Yes.
So that will not be sufficient. And even more important than safeguards like coordinates is actual accountability, holding people accountable. Ibig sabihin, dapat meron talagang kasuhan at makulong. That will be a better safeguard against corruption than GPS coordinates.
Well, of course, ito po ay pinirmahan na ng BICAM, and then antayin na lang po natin yung ratification po of both houses. And then mapupunta na po ito kay Pangulong Bongbong Marcos. Sa tingin niyo po ba, meron po bang dapat i-veto si Pangulong Bongbong Marcos dito? Ano po ba yung nasa wish list niyo na dapat ma-veto ng Pangulo?
Well, dapat mawala talaga yung buong unprogrammed appropriations. Because we and others have said this is actually unconstitutional. Wala namang ganyan sa Constitution. And it is just prone to abuse, as we've seen. So yung confidential and intelligence funds, nakita na natin again how it's so easy to abuse it in the case of the Vice President. And yet sa halip na bawasan, lumaki pa yung confidential and intelligence funds dito. Binawasan yung DPWH so-called pork barrel allocations, pero lumaki naman, nilipat lang sa lump sums for LGUs. Tapos, in order to do that, binawasan naman yung personnel benefits. So, may binawas na around 10 billion for compensation, and then another 32 billion for terminal leave benefits, yung mga sa magre-retire. Yung monetization ng kanilang vacation leave, yung pera doon. Nilagay sa program yun. Yung mga yan, dapat i-veto, pero I highly doubt that the President will veto because in the end, makikinabang din siya sa mga pondong ito because these are lump sums under the ultimate control of the President or under the discretion of the President.
Okay, so what about yung mga ayuda funds, kasama na dyan yung MAIFIP, diba? AIX, can you tell us more about it? Do you think mavivito din ng Pangulo or hindi? Although sanabi ni Senator Ping Lacson may mga guidelines, may mga restrictions doon.
So, dadagdagan pa nga yan ng BICAM.
Right.
So, sa halip na bawasan, dinagdagan pa by a little bit yung MAIFIP, that's medical assistance, yung sa DSWD, na ayuda, tupad, etc. Now, yung pinagmamalaki nilang safeguard daw dito is new special provision, or new general provision, number 19. Supposedly, it will prevent political interference. It remains to be seen whether mangyayari talaga yun,
Yeah.
Kung totoo ngang matitigil na yung or ma-abolish na yung sistema ng guarantee letters for medical assistance or ayuda na basically ang nagde-determine ng beneficiaries ay yung legislator, whether that's congressman or senator, it remains to be seen whether that will indeed be the case.
So, ibig sabihin po nun, kasi even si Senator Win Gatchalian saying na wala dun sa provision ng both of the Senate and House versions yung pagbibigay ng guarantee letters. So, ibig sabihin, this year, next year pala, there will be possibility na magbigay pa rin ng mga guarantee letters sa mga politikos.
Well, yung sistema ng guarantee letter naman, that has always been an informal system
Right.
that was first put in place during the Aquino administration in order to circumvent the Supreme Court ruling that supposedly abolished this. No, so informal system siya. Walang memo na nagsasabi na may ganyang guarantee letter system sa DOH, pero sinusunod. No, so kaya as I said, tignan natin kung yung special provision, which actually there's just one word there that says the elected officials are prohibited from influencing the distribution of medical assistance, financial assistance, and so on.
Tinetechnical
No, so-
tayo sa salita.
Pero kung may nagsabi kasi,
So, isang salita, prohibited from influencing.
Influencing.
So, yun na yun. It
Oo,
rests on that
tinetechnical
word.
tayo.
pero kung may nagsabi kasi sa Senado, I don't remember who, in essence, yung provision na yan is maybe effective sa guarantee letter kasi it's the word guarantee that may influence. But sinabi rin na the word could be changed to recommendation.
Recommendation.
Oo. So paano to? How does the Supreme Court interpret this now?
The Supreme Court ruling says that all post-enactment intervention by legislators is a violation of separation of powers, therefore unconstitutional. So yung guarantee letter system is definitely a violation. But kahit noon pa man yun ang sinasabi nila, recommendation lang naman yung
I
kay
highly
Kong
recommend,
or kay
diba?
Senator. Pero it's amazing how all of these recommendations are always accepted.
Exactly. Oh,
So,
even the
anyway,
amounts, di ba? Oo.
Yeah. So, I mean, yun na nga. Kaya nga sabi natin, may pangako that there's this new provision. It remains to be seen whether the guarantee letter system will indeed be abolished.
Pero sa Senado mismo, kung sinabi, they cannot prevent daw the other senators from giving recommendations. That is
Well,
within them
in other
daw.
words, yun na yun. In other words, actually, they said the same thing way back during the post-PDAF days.
Yes.
Sabi nila, wala namang problema, pwede naman mag-recommend. So kung sinasabi nila uli yan ngayon, then I think we'll expect more of the same,
Okay.
unfortunately.
Well, okay, Kong, baka daw kasi mag-re-enacted budget tayo for the first few weeks of the month next year. What do you have to say to that? Sabi naman daw ni Secretary Ralph Recto, mukhang hindi naman daw, the economy won't die because of that.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the end of the world kung ilang araw lang na ma-reenact. But of course, it does not reflect well on Congress because it is the duty of Congress to pass a budget before the year ends. No? So, mas ganun siguro. But kung ilang araw lang, hindi magiging malaki ang impact nito.
Oh, well, maraming salamat po muli as always sa inyong oras sa ACT Teachers Party List Representative Antonio Tino. Mabalikan na.
Salamat din po. Morning.
Morning. Right, Batangas 1st District Representative Leandro Leviste called on the Department of Public Works and Highways to publicly release the files it allegedly obtained from the late Undersecretary Catalina Cabral to help verify the authenticity of documents he previously disclosed. In a Facebook post, Leviste said that DPWH had already submitted a copy of the files to the Office of the Ombudsman, adding that Public Works Secretary Vince Dizon claimed the records originated from a DPWH computer system. The lawmaker said making the files public would allow independent validation of the materials, which he claimed contained details on the alleged disbursement of the agency's budget. Malacanang earlier questioned the credibility of the documents, particularly those linking several cabinet officials to alleged irregularities.
Hospitals are now on alert 3 days before the new year. At East Avenue Medical Center, emergency rooms are fully stocked with wound cleaning supplies and surgical instruments for possible amputation. The same goes for Quezon City General Hospital. The DOH continues to remind the public that fireworks are dangerous and should not be handled by children.
Para niyo silang binigyan ng baril o kaya bomba. Bakit? Kasi ang laman ng paputok ay pulbura. Kung doon nga sa bomba at sa baril ay tayo naghihigpit at di natin pinapahawak lalo na sa mga bata, doon pa kaya sa mga paputok.
Divisoria in Manila is bustling with shoppers buying decorations for the new year. For the latest, we have mobile journalist Jazz Paredes on the ground. Hi Jazz, kamusta na ang crowd dyan sa Divisoria?
Diego, Angela, no, kung makikita nyo nga sa aking likuran, marami na rin dumadag sa mga mamimili dito sa Divisoria. At makikita naman natin, hindi pa naman gaanong siksikan itong mga dumadayo dito para mamili. Pero kanina nag-ikot-ikot tayo at nagtanong-tanong tayo, ano ba yung mga usual o ano ba yung mga hinahanap ng ating mga mamimili ngayon? At makikita nyo nga sa aking likuran, ito ay puro turotot na yung ating makikita dito. Ayan, napakadami, Angela and Diego. Dahil nga syempre, bagong taon, ang pinakapatok talaga yung mga pampaingay. At syempre, nagtanong-tanong din tayo kung magkano na ba yung mga presyuhan ngayon. Bumisita tayo ngayon sa isa sa mga tindahan dito na kung saan nagbebenta ng mga mura at bagsak presyong mga paputok. Tamang paputok, mga torotot. Ayan, bawal po yung paputok. Ayan, mga torotot. Ayan po, sir. Hello po, magandang umaga po. Magkano na po ba yung mga bentahan na dito sa mga torotot po ito? Pagaya po nito. 10 po, ayan. For as low as 10 pesos, pwede na po tayong bumili ng mga torotot dito. Ayan, meron din tayo ditong mga air horn para hindi na kailangang hipan yung mga torotot na nagkakahalaga lang ng magkano po, sir? 40 pesos po, ayan. At syempre, pag ko tayo dito sa Divisoria, meron na nga namimili ng mga decorations dito, Diego and Angela. Ito yung mga banners. Ayan, meron tayong mga banners dito for 2026. Meron din tayong mga namimili na rin dito, Angela at Diego, ng mga bulog na prutas. Ayan, yan yung itsura ng crowd natin dito, no? Dito sa side na to, puro torotot. And meron din sa mga side na to na puro mga bilog na prutas. At ayon sa mga nakausap natin kanina, no, ang mas binibili daw talaga ngayon, Diego at Angela, ay more on yung mga hindi pa mako-consume before the New Year, kagaya ng mga torotot, mga pang-decorations, at syempre yung mga outfit para sa bagong taon, gaya ng mga clothes na nasa team, parang yun ng Cloud Dancer, which is our year, color of the year. At pero syempre, Diego and Angela, nagtanong na rin tayo, magkano na ba yung presyo ng mga bilog na prutas ngayon? Yung mga usual daw na madalas nabibili ngayon ay yung mga chiko na nag-range ng 100 pesos per 1 kilo, at meron din ng mga kastanyas, 300 pesos per kilo, mansanas na 3 for 100, mga star apple na 100 per kilo, ubas na 250 pesos per kilo, at yung mga melon na 90 pesos per kilo. Pero ayon sa pagtatanong-tanong natin kanina, no, iba-iba yung magiging price niyan pagdating ng bagong taon. Meron daw mga shops na magde-decide na magtaas or magbaba ng presyo last minute before bagong taon. Pero meron namang iba na stable o hindi magbabago yung presyo. Pero sa ngayon, Diego at Angela, ito yung mga presyo, no? Pero babantayan natin yan kung tataas man yung presyo paglapit ng bagong taon.
Jazz, ano yung operating hours nila today, tomorrow, and especially sa 31st, no? Ano oras sila magsasara?
Diego and Angela, no, nag-ikot-ikot nga tayo dito sa mga stores dito at tinanong natin yung kanilang mga oras ng pagsasara at pagbubukas. And according sa kanila, no, usually daw kasi talaga dito ang sistema is magdamagan talaga. And wala daw talaga silang exact na closing and opening hours dahil minsan nga mas marami silang namimili kapag madaling araw. Kaya ang kanila talagang sistema, Diego and Angela, ay wala talagang pagsasara. Pero may mga tindahan din dito na dahil nga mag-spend ng bagong taon, ay magsasala sila ng 31st as early as 7 p.m. para mag-celebrate na ng bagong taon. Pero syempre meron din mga ilang stalls dito na mag-i-stay dahil nga syempre kailangan nilang mag-last minute shopping din at kumabol din dun sa posible pa nilang maibenta for that day.
So 31st, 7 p.m. karamihan sa kanila.
Yes, yes, Diego.
Oo. Just to be clear, kamusta yung bentahan dyan? Kasi if I'm not mistaken, few weeks ago, ang dinadaing ng mga nagtitinda dyan sa Divisoria, yung matumal na bentahan, even nung Christmas and ngayon, because of online selling.
Tama ka dyan, Angela, no? Actually, magkakaiba yung naging sagot sa atin. Nung kanina nagtanong-tanong tayo doon sa mga tindahan ng mga decorations ng Pampasko, ang sagot nila is mas matumal daw talaga ngayon ang bentahan kumpara noong last year. Maaari daw na dahil nga kakompetensya na nila yung sa mga online shopping at hindi na rin pupunta yung iba dito para personal na mamili ng mga decorations at mas convenient ka naman daw sa online kaya napansin nila mas tumumal daw ang bentahan. Pero for now, yung sa mga prutas ay medyo stable at medyo okay naman. Hindi pa rin nila masabi sa ngayon kung mas malakas ba or mas mahina dahil ina-expect daw nila na magpipik pa yung pagbentahan ng prutas mga last minute before mga December 31 or pwede ring December 30. Marami na mga dadagsa dito na mamimili. Pero sa ngayon daw nakikita nila na medyo mas mahina nga ng onte kumpara last year pero umaasa sila na mababawi nila yung bentahan ngayon dahil nga noong Kapaskuhan ay mahina daw talaga yung bentahan, Angela.
Okay, sige. Maraming salamat sa ating mobile journalist na si Jazz Paredes, live na nag-ulat mula sa Divisoria dyan sa Maynila. Ako, hindi pa nga natatapos o nagsisimula yung New Year. Ang dami na natin mga firecracker-related injuries, no? Mostly mga bata din.
Dami pang hindi natututo.
Iwas tayo sa mga paputok. We'll be back with more stories after the break. Keep it here on One News. Good morning. You're still watching News and Views here on One News. One person died after an incident involving an illegal firecracker on Sunday night in Tondo, Manila. From December 21 to 28, the Department of Health reported that firecracker-related injuries in the country have reached 112. Metro Manila recorded the highest number of incidents with 52 cases, followed by the Ilocos region with 12 and Central Luzon and Western Visayas with 9 each. Males aged 5 to 14 were the most affected, with injuries mainly caused by 5-star boga, quitis, piccolo, plapla, and whistle bomb.
Joining us now is DOH Secretary Ted Herbosa. Good morning and welcome to the program, Sec.
Good morning and Happy New Year to everyone.
Happy New Year, Sec. Sana nga, Happy New Year sa lahat. But as of now, madami ng, victims of the firecracker. What's concerning, Sec? Parang mas bata sila ngayon, ah.
That is correct, and that has been my warning. We have found since last year, yung ages talaga 5 to 14 years
That's right.
old ang pinakamaraming na-injure.
Oo. So saan po ba tayo kailangan mag-push pa? Kulang pa po ba sila sa public awareness, information campaign regarding the dangers of firecrackers?
Well, I think it's about time merong konting regulation talaga, no? Because parang we have to protect our children.
Right.
Hindi naman po pwedeng permanent injury, disability caused by firecracker injury. Nawawalan ng daliri, yung cases na nakita ko, nawalan ng hintuturo at saka middle finger.
Right.
Permanent yun, for
Yes.
life yun sa kabataan natin. So, I think our parents should help us. The police have done a good job, no? Madami silang mga nahuli ng mga illegal. And today, wala ako nakikita masyadong illegal sa sidewalks and other places. So, which is a good thing.
Pero
ayan pa rin it still goes around. So,
Exactly.
That's right,
I guess that the behavior, yung teenager, adolescent, yung 12 to 14, yun yung mga risky behavior thinking there.
Oo nga ko.
Curious
Superman.
pa.
Oo nga, Sec. Kasi I think they see
Curious, yes.
they also see it in social media, so nagiging curious sila. Pero year in and year out, Sec, may improvements ba at least sa number of accidents that are recorded?
Well, definitely, no. There has been a decrease, although bumubuhos ngayon more focus during the New Year's Eve and right after. So, ang recommendation ko dyan, no, if there are kids na may injured, tell your parents para madala kagad kayo sa hospital. Usually, ang injury na yan is dirty and requires tetanus injection and a lot of cleaning or else magiging infected. Yung bata kasi late na nagpapatingin.
That's right.
We even had cases of tetanus last year.
Yes, Sec, I wanted to ask you kasi madami nang tatanong din. No? Kasi given na pag nagkaroon ng firecracker-related incident, karamihan pupunta lang sa ospital niya pag naputulan na or nabasag ang balat o yung buto. Pero let's say sumabog ang isang firecracker sa kamay mo, may minor injuries or sugat, kailangan pa po bang pumunta sila sa hospital? What are the things that you have to look out for?
Yeah, that's a good point, no? The fireworks, the firecrackers and gunpowder have nitrites and night soil. So there are tetanus-prone wounds yan, yung blast injury. Very important, kahit maliit, pwedeng magka-tetanus yung bata. So it's very important na ma-assess siya ng doctor, mabigyan siya ng... Usually we give a booster shot for the tetanus, even if the child already had tetanus injection. So very important yan, no? Yung risk na yun. Small wounds can lead to tetanus. So, very important yun. Oh.
So yan ang reminder natin, no, Sec, na no matter how small the wound is, pag sumabog sa daliri mo yan, go straight to the hospital.
Yes, bukas ang lahat ng emergency department ng Department of Health. Nag-check ako a few days ago and they had even this area only for the firecrackers. Naglagay kami ng surge capacity area. So, para mabilis ang treatment sa kanila.
Yun nga po, Sec, kasi nga, well, you mentioned earlier as well na this is holistic approach, no? Yung mga magulang, yung mga police for reinforcement po ng ating mga paghuli sa mga nagkakaroon po ng mga illegal activities, mostly mga firecrackers ngayong taon. Sa DOH naman po, aside po dun sa nabanggit po ninyo ng mga ospital na meron pong section doon dedicated for the firecracker-related injuries, ano pa po ba yung mga paghahanda na ginagawa ng DOH? Para po, kasi syempre, as much as possible, ang ating goal dito as government ay zero casualty po sana.
Yes, I would love to see that zero casualty. Pero dumadami rin ang cases namin ng number one, yung road crash injuries. So yung mga nagparty, nakainom, nagmaneho pa rin pauwi ng kanilang motorsiklo. 70% nung nakita namin, walang helmet, walang seatbelt, at nagmumotor. So these are the reminders, no? Kung kayo iinom, huwag kayong magmamaneho ng motorsiklo or even sasakyan. Pangalawa, dumami rin ang stroke at saka heart attack namin.
That's right.
And this is seasonal. We see this every year. Ang dami talagang matatanda na may stroke. When I visited Jose Reyes just after Christmas, puno na yung kanilang stroke unit at saka madami pang cases na nandoon sa emergency department. So reminder to everyone, take your anti-hypertensive, umiwas sa maalat, matataba, matatamis, at mamantikang pagkain. And then of course, we have to support our children na merong mental health issues. Na tumaas yung calls namin dun sa aming hotline sa National Center for Mental Health. Number one call is depression, anxiety. Pangalawa, love, relationship. And pangalawa, family problem. Panghuli, yung loneliness ng mga may edad.
That's right.
So, very important in this holiday season, marami sa atin nagsasaya, be sensitive, marami rin sa ating malulungkot.
Exactly.
Buti, Sec, nabanggit niyo heart attack and stroke na increase, no? I think you've heard of yung sinasabi nilang holiday heart syndrome. So, ano yung best way, Sec, approaching the new year to bawasan yung epekto nito?
Yeah, yung holiday heart syndrome, ang ina-affect ng taong walang sakit sa puso, no? No previous condition. Tapos magpa-party yan gabi-gabi, drinking, getting dehydrated. Ang usual cause is an electrolyte imbalance, yung body fluid and electrolytes. Tapos nagkakaroon ng arrhythmia. So ito yung holiday heart syndrome which can lead to a heart attack and a stroke in the young.
In the young pa.
29-year-old, 30-year-old. Oo, sa bata yan.
Without previous
yung
history, no,
holiday heart
Sec?
syndrome. Yes, no previous history. Yan yung tinatawag na holiday heart syndrome, first described in New York in the 70s. So ngayon nakakakita rin tayo ng mga ganyang cases sa ating mga emergency department.
Right, Secretary, you mentioned also about mental health, ano? I was wondering po if yung ating hotline ay yan po ba ay 24/7, may sasagot just in case meron pong tumawag?
Yes, 24/7 siya. We have 25 doctors and counselors waiting for calls. So, ang queue, pag nag-busy yan, all 25 are occupied. So, we get about over 100 calls a day. So, very important then na there are other hotlines, no? Hindi lang yung sa National Center for Mental Health. There are non-profit organizations and other hospitals in your region na may hotline. So,
Do you have any plans of expanding that?
Hindi lang 1553.
Opo. Sec, do we have any plans of expanding that para po in the future hindi lang po 25 yung sasagot doon?
Correct. Kinausap ko na nga yung aming director ng National Center for Mental Health and maybe next year ito namin yan with the help of the other hospitals of Metro Manila. We have 22 hospitals in Metro Manila. So para ma-divert yung call pag busy kasi baka critical yun, yung nag-busy pa, yun yung magkaroon ng problem.
And Sec, I'd also like to ask you, no, kasi of course, sa 31st Eve pa lang, ang daming mga locations sa LGUs na magpapaputok. And ano yung mga risks sa respiratory issues due sa usok nito, no? Is there any potential risk to people, especially pag may comorbidity?
Yes, yung mga patients dyan na may acute asthma, bronchial asthma, meron din chronic obstructive lung disease. Very important, stay at home, close your windows, or better off, I know of some friends na asthmatic na nag-out of town na lang. Kasi nga, sobrang daming usok talaga sa Metro Manila during the fireworks display.
Well, I guess, Secretary, yung ating paalala sa ating mga kapatid po ngayon nanonood regarding the upcoming New Year celebration, and of course, how capable po ang ating mga ospital to make sure po lahat ng mga emergency sections po natin ay makapag-cater po doon sa mga nangangailangan para sa kanila.
So, reminder ko to all the parents, no, nakita natin, kids ang nai-injure, so please be watchful of our children playing with firecrackers. Legal or illegal, hindi dapat hinahawakan ng bata. Children should not handle firecrackers and fireworks. So, be respectful of that. And then also, tamang pagkain, mag-ehersisyo, at disiplina, bawal ang masyadong maraming alak, alcohol, vape, sigarilyo. Happy New Year!
Happy New Year! Happy New Year! Thank you very much, DOA Secretary Ted Herbosa, for joining us on the show. Now at this point, let's check the situation at the Parañaque Integrated Terminal Exchange, or PITX, just 3 days before New Year's Day. We have mobile journalist Francis Rivera. Francis, ano na situation ngayon sa PITX?
Angelo, Checo, ngayon patuloy pa rin naman ang pagdagsa ng mga pasahero ngayon dito sa PITX at medyo maaga pa ngayon, no? Kaya papansin sa likuran din, so kakaunti pa lamang pumapasok dito sa loob ng terminal. Pero nung sinilip natin, yung mga pay area o yung mga terminal saan nga may mga biyahe papuntang Bicol, Masbate, para talaga namang medyo madami yung mga tao o yung mga pasahero naghihintay sa kanilang mga biyahe. And ayon nga dun sa mga bus company na nakausap natin, yung papuntang norte, back to normal na. Pero yung mga papunta talagang mga pabikol at mga tawid dagat, yun talaga yung mga fully booked, lalong-lalo na doon sa December 31 at sa January 1. Yung mga nagbabalik na pasahero at yung mga uuwi dito sa Maynila.
Yes, Francis, I understand also today daw magkakaroon ng peak dahil, of course, may Rizal Day, no? Ang mga ibang families daw, plano nila, dire-diretsohin na lang until New Year.
Yes, Checo. Pero nung nakausap natin, yung mga bus company, no, ang inaasahan nila bukas yung talagang dagsa o yung pinaka-peak ng mga pasahero ngayong magbabagong taon. Ano? Pero yung nakikita nila na ngayon na mga nagbabalik mula probinsya papunta dito sa Maynila, yun daw yung medyo mataas yung range ng mga pasahero. No? At madagdag ko lang, no, Angelo and Angela, no, as of the moment, kuha na ang pamunuan ng PITX ng 409 confiscated items no, mula yan December 19 hanggang December 28 mula kahapon.
Ako, may mga pasaway pa rin nagdadala ng mga hindi dapat dalhin sa loob. Pero, Francis, dun sa, based on ticket sales, sa ano bang mas mataas, no, yung bilang ng mga pasahero noong Pasko or ngayong magbabagong taon?
Angela, nung sinilip natin yung mga bus company and yung mga ticket booth ngayon, napakahaba pa rin may mga pila pa rin doon sa mga ticket booth ng papuntang Bicol and papuntang South, no? And as of the moment, napapansin natin, mas marami ngayon yung mga nagbo-book, no, papunta sa kanilang probinsya.
Sige, ilibot mo naman kami dyan ngayon. 'Di ba? As we speak, kamusta ang sitwasyon dyan ngayon sa PITX?
Yes, Angela, ito yung entrance ng PITX. So kung papansin nga natin, medyo kakaunti pa lamang yung pumapasok sa terminal. Pero iikot natin rin. Ito yung usual na mahaba yung pila, pero as of the moment, wala pa ganun karami. Hindi pa nag-i-start o humahaba yung pila dito, pero marami pa rin tayong mga kapatid na naghihintay sa kanilang mga biyahe. Ito yung mga biyahe papuntang south naman, pero dito yan sa within Metro Manila, papuntang Cavite, papuntang Las Piñas, at papuntang Batangas. So ito yung mga pila nila, at doon banda doon sa may kabila naman, yun yung papuntang mga Tagaytay, no? At medyo madami-dami na rin naman yung mga pasahero na andito.
Oo, marami-rami na nga, nakikita ko na medyo meron ng pagkapal ng mga commuters dyan ngayon sa PITX. And may mga napansin din ako doon sa area na may mga nakaupo, merong hindi. Ibig sabihin punuan na, wala nang maibibigay na extra upuan ang pamunuan ng PITX sa mga pasahero nag-aantay. And of course, kamusta yung pag-iestima nila sa buntis, sa senior citizen, sa mga bata, sa may mga kapansanan?
Actually, dito, Angela, may mga priority seats naman tayo nito. Yung iba naman, hindi naman nila inuupuan, no? Kung hindi PWD, hindi seniors, o kung hindi naman may dalang buntis o may dalang bata. So, yung mga reserved na seats para sa mga PWD and sa mga buntis ay hindi pa naman nila inuupuan. So, yun yung nakikita natin ngayon dito sa PITX, doon sa mga nag-aantabay para sa kanilang mga biyahe.
Alright, thank you for that. Mobile journalist Francis Rivera reporting live from PITX.
Now, let's head over to the bus terminals in Cubao. We have mobile journalist Ray Vicente with the latest updates. Ray, marami pa rin ba ang pasahero dyan ngayon?
Diego, Angela, magandang umaga. Dito nga tayo sa isa sa mga bus terminals dito sa Cubao, kung saan makikita nga sa aking likuran yung mga ilang mga passengers na nagbabaka sakali na may mahanap pa o may mag-back out pa ng mga pasahero sa mga ruta o destinasyon na pupuntahan nila ngayon. Kasi sa ngayon daw ay ang mga fully booked talaga na mga biyahe ay papuntang Daet, pati papuntang Albay, no? Pero kahit gano'n, nag-aantay pa rin talaga sila. Nagbabaka sakali na may mga nag-back out. At puntahan naman natin, Diego, Angela, mga nakapila para sa online reservations. Nandito sila sa kanang bahagi ko, ayan. Mangilan-ilan na sila ngayon. Pero talaga, Angela, Diego, kung ikukumpara raw talaga noong Christmas season, isang linggo, ay kung makikita nyo, mas kakaunti na talaga yung pasahero ngayon, no? Kasi ang sabi ng mga ticketing staff pati security personnel dito ay talagang last week nagdagsaan yung mga tao dahil na Christmas season at doon talaga nag-end yung mga trabaho nila. Pero kahapon daw ay muli nagdagsaan yung ating mga kapatid dito sa Cubao Bus Terminal dito sa South dahil nga ay yung mga ilan ay muling bumalik para sa kanilang trabaho dito sa Maynila tapos muling babalik ulit sa kanilang probinsya para syempre makasama ang kanilang pamilya.
Ray, ilan ba yung mga bus na allocated for today's trip versus doon sa mga pasahero?
Actually, Angela, Diego, yung nakausap natin kanina dito sa ticketing staff, hindi naman daw sila nagdagdag na mga bus para ngayong linggo, no? Para ngayong New Year sa pagsulubong ng 2026 dahil talagang inaasahan nila na mas kakaunti na raw. So kung ano yung mga regular na mga bus during regular season, yung pa rin naman daw yung mga numero. Pero kumpara daw last week ay nagdagdag daw sila ng mga 2 times dahil talaga inaasahan nila yung pagdagsaan ng tao.
Oo. Pero maraming chance passenger. Mga ilan yon?
Yes, Angela, tingnan natin ulit Actually, ang na-mention din kanina ng isa sa mga ticketing staff ay hindi na raw nila inaasahan daw nila na less than 1,000 daw yung mga dadalo o mga passengers na pupunta ngayon dito sa bus terminals dito sa Pasao. Ayan, medyo kakaunti na rin actually kakapasok lang nila sa bus. Ayan. So sa ngayon nasa mahigit 200 to 300 pa lang daw yung mga pasahero talaga dito.
Mm-hmm. What about security? 'Di ba? Ang seguridad diyan.
Ayun nga, kahit kakaunti na yung mga tao rito sa Cubao Bus Terminal. Siyempre, mahigpit pa rin ang seguridad dito ng mga security personnel. Kanina nga, napansin natin, talagang chinecheck nila lahat ng zipper ng mga bag at syempre bawal pa rin. Pinaalala pa rin nila sa ating mga kapatid ang mga pinagbabawal na kagamitan. Tulad ng explosives, pati mga matatalim na bagay. Pero Angela, yung mga alagang hayop naman natin, mga fur babies natin, pwede naman ay dalhin dito sa Cubao Bus Terminals. Siguro nilang daw ay nakakulong ito o may mga suot na diet para din yung karamihan.
Ray, of course, ang tanong din ng marami, kamusta ng traffic situation in and around the stations or terminals dyan sa may Cubao?
Yes, Diego, tingnan nga natin yung current situation ngayon. No? Papakita ko lang sa inyo. Ito yung current situation sa may EDSA. Actually, okay pa naman yung daloy ng mga sasakyan o daloy ng mga trapiko, no? Dahil nga yung ilan sa ating mga kapatid o marami sa ating mga kapatid ay nagsiuwian na sa kanilang probinsya, kaya hindi naman gano'n na kabigat yung trapiko dito sa makahabaan ng EDSA dito sa Cubao.
That's northbound, Ray, or southbound? Yan, Ray, is that northbound or southbound EDSA?
Actually, both southbound pati northbound ay maayos naman yung daloy ng traffic.
Okay, medyo may problema tayo sa signal ni Ray.
Moving
Andito
kasi
sa
si Ray.
trapiko, pero rito sa southbound ay tuloy-tuloy naman yung daloy ng trapiko.
Okay.
Yes, Diego, southbound.
Alright, sige, maraming salamat. That was our mobile journalist, Ray Vicente, reporting live in Cubao.
Don't go away because we're not done yet. Stay with us. Welcome back. You're still watching News and Views here on One News.
The government's 20 pesos per kilo rice program will be expanded next year to include below middle-income earners. Beginning January 2026, the subsidized rice will continue to be available to vulnerable sectors with additional households now covered under the program. The Department of Agriculture says guidelines are being finalized to identify eligible beneficiaries using data from government agencies. The National Food Authority assures the public it has enough rice supply to sustain the program with 2.2 million bags currently in its warehouses.
This holiday season, fisher folk from Subic, Zambales found both recognition and relief as their daily struggles at sea were brought to light, along with much needed support for their community. Mobile journalist Evan Tarinque reports.
This holiday season, fisher folk from Subic, Zambales received much needed aid and recognition as their struggles at sea were highlighted during a special documentary screening.
For many fisher folk from Subic, Zambales, the holiday season came with both recognition and relief as their daily struggles at sea were brought to the big screen and matched with much needed assistance. The fisher folk were invited to a special screening of the documentary film Food Delivery, which chronicles the near-daily realities of Filipino fishermen navigating the West Philippine Sea amid ongoing territorial tensions. Beyond highlighting geopolitical issues, the film puts a human face on the risk fishermen endure, long hours at sea, uncertain catches, and the constant threat to their safety and livelihood. Members of the Philippine Coast Guard were present during the screening, along with their viewers who became emotional after seeing the fishermen's stories unfold on screen. Many said they could personally relate to the hardships portrayed in the documentary.
Marami nang gustong tumulong sa amin, kaya parang lumakas yung loob namin na umalaot pa rin kahit sobrang hirap, kahit minsan walang huli.
Despite the dangers and uncertainties, the fishermen continue to go out to sea, driven by necessity and the responsibility to provide for their families, especially during the holidays.
Alam ko po kung gaano kahirap ang buhay ng mga isda. Pag ikaw po kasi lumaot, sir, sa katulad ng ganyan, parang ang isang paa mo nasa hukay na.
Alongside the screening, concrete support was extended to the fisher folk through a holiday outreach led by the Makati Medical Center Foundation and Alagang Kapatid Foundation. The fishermen and their families received grocery packs, hygiene kits, toys and learning materials for children. Timely assistance meant to help them prepare for Christmas and the New Year. Additional donation included ham, solar torches, and other essential items provided by various private organizations, offering both immediate relief and practical support for a life by the sea.
We are doing our bit, and ang emotional kasi doon is we hope we can do more
and there's always the hope na this film can somehow alleviate the situation.
As the year ends, the fisher folks say the support they receive brings renewed hope for the coming year, strengthening their resolve to continue their livelihood despite the risks they face at sea. Kapatid Mobile Journal Ivan Tarinque, we are One News.
Alright. O, kasi nakita naman natin talaga yung plight ng mga fishermen natin, especially sa West Philippines, yung hirap. And recently, di ba nagkaroon nga ng incident ulit nung pag-water cannon ng Chinese.
Sa kanila na mismo.
Oo, pero recently nung, I don't know kung kailan nila nilabas yung photo, naglabas kasi ng photo ang Chinese Embassy na nung December 25 daw, may photo doon, namimigay naman sila ng food and water sa mga mangingisda sa West Philippine Sea na mga Pilipino. So this photo was released by the Chinese Embassy na in the spirit of Christmas, here we are giving food and water to the and then you will see the Chinese Filipino fisherman getting the water, saying thank you, nag-Merry Christmas pa daw. But of course,
Tapos
sabi ni
what's after that? Balik sa water cannon pagtapos ng Pasko.
ayun na nga. So sinasabi ni spokesperson on West Philippine Sea, Commodore J. Tariela, sabi niya, he confirmed the incident and wrote the agency. The agency acknowledges and appreciate the humanitarian gesture of the PLA, of People's Liberation Army Navy, Luyang 3 class guided missile destroyer with bow number 174 in providing a bottle of water and the 3 packs of biscuits to the distressed Filipino fishermen of the Coast Guard. However,
Ito statement yan, no? Sa screen, no?
However, he pointed out the fishermen identified as Larry Tumalis became frightened when the PLA Navy warship 174 launched a RHIB. So, RHIB is a rigged-hulled inflatable boat. So, natakot sila bakit biglang may ganon. He added in response that the fishermen used carbon deposits scrap from the tip of his engine's exhaust pipe to write, "Help me." So, yon. So, the incident happened approximately 71 nautical miles west of Silangin Island, Zambales.
So,
that falls well within Philippines. Pero parang may pagpo-posture pa rin.
May posture rin pala while helping. Yung
kasi that PLA Navy, dagdag ko lang that PLA Navy ship had no legitimate reason to operate within the Philippines economic zone. Yeah.
Yung helpings for picture's sake lang siguro.
Ayun. So, yun. Ito yung picture nakita ko to nung over the weekend. Pinalabas nila na merong help me na hindi ko mapakita eh. May help me yung fisherman. Oo, ayan, pakita natin. May help me yung fisherman. Tapos ito yung supposedly from the Chinese Coast Guard, PLA, no? Namimigay ng tubig, no? So
Ba't hinarap niya yung help me sa Chinese?
Yun nga do kasi di ba parang naggulat sila or kasi nagpalabas ng yung RHIB.
Baka naman natakot lang, pero
baka natakot
hindi mo natin
lang.
alam.
We don't know what happened. Pero yun nga, in a rare display of compassion. Kasi usually nga, di ba, few weeks ago, pinag-uusapan lang natin yung pag-water cannon sa kanila. Di ba? So, ayun. So, sinabi ng Chinese Embassy, di ba, parang sabi nila, the incident happened on December 25 wherein the Chinese Navy ship 174 provided swift humanitarian assistance to a distressed Philippine fishing vessel in the South China Sea. Diba? So they delivered essential food and water to fishermen who had been stranded for 3 days due to engine failure. Yun.
Baka help me to them.
Tapos help me to them. Yun. So, yun yung update doon sa West Philippine Sea. So, kaya naman Kaya naman maging mabait sa isa't isa.
Sabi nga nila, an ounce of compassion means there is compassion.
Oo, ayun. So sana tuloy-tuloy na ganyan. And of course, ma-address yung talagang dispute natin dyan. Alright, Manila's Finest emerged as the most awarded film at the 2025 Metro Manila Film Festival, taking home 8 awards. It tied with Call Me Mother for 3rd Best Picture and also won Best Cinematography, Best Production Design, Best Sound, Best Musical Score, Best Original Theme Song for Sandalan, Best Float, and the Gatpuno J. Villegas Award. Now, set in late 1960s Manila, the film follows Captain Homer Magtibay, played by Piolo Pascual, a police officer navigating a city grappling with crime, political maneuvering, and declining public order. The film continues to receive praise from moviegoers and critics, with some calling it the boldest entry in this year's lineup for tackling systemic issues, while others hail it as one of the best and most meaningful films of the festival. Ngayon pa lang,
Yan,
congratulations.
So, you have a few days before the New Year's end,
Yes.
di ba? Watch, gumawa kayo ng listahan sa entries, kung anong unahin nyo, anong ano, di ba? And watch it in
Unahin na
in
nila
your
itong
order.
Manila's Finest kasi
Oo.
kakaiba tong pelikula ito.
Support local.
Doon sa mga regular movies na napapanood natin sa Metro Manila Film Festival. Kasi this one has historical value, cultural, 'di ba? Offer, yan yung mga makikita.
Support local more, ano, di ba? Para buhayin natin
Oo.
ulit yan.
Sabi ko nga,
pasiglain natin ang ating industriya.
Oo. So, sabi ko nga, ang Metro Manila Film Festival has come a long way, 'di ba, in terms of yung inclusivity, because yung nanalo na Best Actress ay doon sa movie na I'm Perfect na may Down syndrome, 'di ba? So nakakatawa din naman 'yun. But of course, yun nga, actually yung family ko sila mama, yan ang kanilang tradition every year. Manood sila, pinapanood nila yung magkakapatid, yung mga entries ng Metro Manila Film Festival. And I think this week, uunahin nila itong Manila's Finest. So ngayon pa lang, congratulations sa MQuest.
Take time.
Job well done.
Although mahaba yung mga pila niyan for sure, but agahan nyo na lang with your mga chikiting at mag-lunch or dinner kayo afterwards, diba? Take time out, mag-distress muna. Kasi we're approaching a new year.
Yes.
And with that, I'd like to leave everyone with a quote about how to approach a new year and how to fix your mindset. A new year approaches not to erase the past. Remember that, not to erase the past, but rather to give us another chance to do better. So mga nagsasabi, New Year na, mag-reset lahat ng kasamaan ko. Hindi po nangyayari yon.
Another chance to get it right.
Oo,
sabi
kasi
nga.
hindi tayo perfect. We all have our demons inside us. But you can say to yourself, tomorrow will be better. And then, when you're there tomorrow, say again, tomorrow will be better. Until little by little, you are
Saka
becoming
may
better.
New Year's resolution pa ba? Kasi usually, mga New Year's resolution, hindi naman natutupad.
Wala akong susunod.
Diba?
I will
Hindi
be
realistic yung mga... Dapat gumawa kayo, kung meron man, yung realistic,
I will
yung
eat
kaya
less,
nyo
pero mas madaming kumain. I will be...
Konti lang nanakawin ko ngayon, pero mas madami pala yung nanakaw. Dapat huwag na magnakaw.
Mas ngingiti ako ngayon, mas naging dragon, di ba, mga ganun. So, make a reasonable list, di ba? Hindi mo kailangan 10 items. Yun yung 3 items that you would change in yourself. Possible lang. Alright, that wraps up today's episode of News and Views.
Join us again tomorrow. I'm Angela Lagunsad Castro.
And I'm Angelo Castro III, kapatid, we are one you.
All sides, all the time.